Good evening, everybody, and welcome to my first video on Rend. So, Rend is a faction-based PvP survival game that is hitting early access on July 31st of 2018, and so far I haven't seen any videos out there um, anytime soon that kind of give you a good little first steps when you first join the game. So I figured I'd try my hand at creating one. So I just joined a private server, so you won't see too many people on here. I wanted to get one that was a fresh start. Nothing was really built up, so you could see the beginnings of the game and kind of create a character and take you through what I've found to be some of the initial steps you need to take. Um, by no means am I an expert on the game. There's still a lot to learn and a lot to do, but there's a few things that kind of I wish I had known when I first joined the official server. So, first things first, I started at the spawn point right here, and as you can see in the distance, there's a um, glowing green wall and then a giant tree. So that's the core of this game, the giant tree. Each faction is trying to feed that tree basically to ascend and win the round, and at that point the server will reset. So this is actually the first survival game that I've played that has an end game and a whole goal that your faction or even clan needs to accomplish. So the glowy wall, that's your faction base. So it's already there when you first start a server. That wall comes down twice a week for what is called the Reckoning, where the NPC army will attack you. That's also when you're vulnerable for other factions to attack you. So the goal of your faction is to defend your base, take control points, um, resource up, gear up, and basically ascend. So what I think everybody needs to know starting out is that put all your experiences in an old survival game and expectations from old survival games, uh, at the doorstep when you join this. It's there's a few things obviously like drinking water, getting food, um, and an idea of what you should do in a game as far as shelters and stuff go that can help. However, this is so faction oriented that coming in here as a solo player or as a small group is only going to accomplish so much. It's really not going to do um, not going to do a whole lot if everybody separates into their own clans and does their own thing. So, having said that, now that you kind of understand the ultimate goal of the game, um, now how do you get to that end game, and what do you do to win the round as a faction? That part I can't speak to as much yet. Mid and late game, I'm not even going to get into. I want to focus this video basically on just getting started, which it was an adventure already. As you can see, there's pigs around me and stuff. First inclination, of course, is to fight things, kill things, build things, that kind of stuff. So, what you need to do, you don't have any tools, you don't have any gear, you don't have anything, right? You're just empty. So you need to get a tool, you need to get weapons, you need to get armor, you need to think about food and water, that kind of thing. So there's small trees over here that you can hit with your fists to gain rough wood sticks and rough wood branches. Right? And then you can right click on these bushes to pick up raw fiber. As you see, there's tutorials there. Craft some twine. So you click on C, and this is the part where I got stuck a little bit, right? Was how do you get to all of the stuff you want to be able to craft? An easy way to see it all. So if you click on this, it opens up the tree, so you see what can lead to unlocking what. So the first thing you want to do is get this hatchet. You need fiber twine, that's right there. And I already picked up sticks. So now you have a hatchet, and that unlocked the simple bow and the mallet. You can also keep crafting some more of the twine and get you some armor right here. So let's see if I picked up enough for any of this. I did not. If you want to, you can also right click on what you want to craft, and it'll let you select either how many of them, or if you want to just all your mats to craft what it is. And I'll just do that for this one. One thing to note is I did do a little bit of on my key bindings, and I'll explain why when I open up some skills, but at least they do give you that option. Okay, so one thing to note is I just leveled up, and you can see in the chat window I've gained 25 faction rep. The faction rep plays a part in access you can be given in your faction base. So there's a lot of debate about griefing and spies or whatnot logging in and taking your stuff, right, from your faction base. So once you reach, there's a social tab up here. You can see everybody starts out at Ken, and then you gain faction rep to appreciated, and then it shows the ladder rank. So right now, Viggy is appreciated and he's set as an elder. The elder means that person can change permissions on storages in the faction base, and they can set it to where only certain rep ranks have access to different storage chests. So that kind of helps with people that are logging in initially as kin and just raiding the faction base of all materials, resources, gear, and just taking them for themselves or destroying them or whatever. So that's a good mechanic. However, it does take a little bit of time to rank up to where you have the ability to change those permissions. Um, and you get 25, as I started out saying, faction rep when you level up each time. And then you just get faction rep by doing other basic stuff to help progress. So back to this. Gathering of the fiber to try and make me some armor. Okay. So can make pants, can make a shirt, and boots. Nope, not enough for boots. Alright, you might notice that I gained a spark of genius. I'll get into that part as well shortly. I'll explain what those are. Oh, and there's some watermelons. Those help with food, but you just don't get very much out of it. So it's almost kind of a little bit of a waste to worry about gathering watermelons. You have to eat so many of them to make it worth it. How much time? So the first time you craft some of these things, it'll auto equip the gear. The axe is auto equipped. There's these sparks that I was talking about. And now let's move on to the next tool or weapon or whatnot that you might want to craft, which is the mallet. So now you can actually go to these thicker trees now that you have an axe and hold Q down to see your tools. Once you have all 4 of them, they'll all populate in here. Hover over it and then just release Q and it'll select the tool that you want. If you left click, you get, on these stick trees, you get rough wood sticks. If you right click, you get logs. Each of course is used for their own things. Sticky sap is a byproduct you collect and use for crafting other things later on. So far, I've found everything in this game is very valuable. Let me look for our faction base and head towards that direction. There's no mini map, by the way, so this big tree is like your North Star. It's gonna help you out. If you're holding the axe or anything that's not a scythe, it won't interact with certain things that don't use an axe to harvest with. So you gotta unequip it. We can get back to this gathering of fiber. Let's see if I have enough to make the mallet. One fiber twine and the sticky sap. So now you have a mallet. A mallet can get you stone, flint, and that kind of thing. I can also make the bow. As you can see, I'm getting low on food and water, so that'll be pretty important. Go ahead and craft some arrows now that I unlocked that. Torch, I'm not extremely worried about. Campfire I am, so I need crumble stone and flint. That both takes the mallet and a rock. There's one. So choose your mallet. Right click and you get flint and rock salt. Maybe. There it is. Some flint. And the rock salt is like the rare byproduct of that. One big thing that I don't worry about early on is if you do die, your respawn point initially is the faction base. You could choose it to be other ones later on when more personal bases are built, but you'll respawn in your faction base, which is near a bunch of resources as well. So it's not a huge deal early on if you die of thirst or hunger. It's not a game ending, a game changer. All these resources are pretty easy to get. So I see an easy gruntling right there. Those are like the baby pigs. They'll just die. So you can use your flimsy bow. There's a durability on it. So it could randomly break on you. It won't last that long, but starting out, you might be able to get some food. Maybe. I'm so weak. There we go. Alright, switch to your axe. Left click to get meat, boar ribs, as you can see. Right click is hides, leathers. So that only gave me one. That's not going to last me very long, but maybe. I need to get some water because I'll start dehydrating too. And I need to finish making what I need for a campfire to cook this thing. So crumble stone works. Let me find some water over here. Oh, there's somebody else killing some boars. Alright, and then just hit F to drink. Now I'm all full, so at least I won't starve. I do need a little bit more, maybe logs to cook this meat. Maybe try and kill another boar as well. Oh, is that the wrong? Oh, one thing is while you're sprinting, you can't change weapons or tools. You have to be still or at a walk. Like if you're sprinting like I am now, you can't switch to a mallet, or switch to your bow or anything. So I learned that trying to get away from things. Let's see if I can kill another of these. Gruntlings. The grunters and the, oh, see, my bow just broke. And I don't have what it takes to make another one. I can make my campfire though. Cook my food. Place that real quick. So hit F and you add your logs on the left as fuel. You can bring these over. You don't need to cook those. And the meat auto went down to here. And you have to click on to actually light it. Oh, did it spoil? It's freaking spoiled. Okay. Good timing. I need a bow. I need some wood again. Oh my goodness. It's okay. These things happen. You will die. Get another flimsy bow. And get some more arrows. Oh, that wolf will mess me up early on. We find another gruntling. With my whole 4 damage. You can actually make more than one bow and have them equipped. So you can have like a main hand and an offhand. Oh, which I should have done. You gotta be kidding me already. You just don't do enough damage with an axe. Oh, I killed it. One more rib again. Alright, let's try this again. Get to the fire. Put the fuel. What? Why is the campfire inventory gone? Bugged out. So, let's do another one. It's fine, it's fine. Okay. There we go. Well, at least I have one piece of food. And actually I have a rock salt. So if you see, after doing the campfire, opened up salt cured meat, which is a better version of the poorly cooked meat. So the poorly cooked meat gives you plus energy plus 2, restores 20 over 1 minute, but this one restores 30 over a minute and more energy. So as long as you have rock salt, you can do that. Auto populates, and I got some food. Okay, we're surviving. We're surviving. So back to the tutorial. Now that I got you at least this part, you can craft the other items in here. Spirit sickle is what'll help you harvest fiber a lot easier out of bushes. Rough hide is a water skin. It doesn't really do a lot for the water, for the dehydration. It really doesn't help extremely. But what it does do is it holds 25 water, and you use water in crafting recipes. So really, that's your first item that's going to help you craft things that require water. And it unlocks a bag that lets you carry plus 20 weight. So that's big. Once you do the sickle, you get this first storage thing. Again, to keep in mind, you don't have a personal base right away. And the faction is open to everybody until you start getting technology to lock it down. So these baskets you can craft for storage, but anybody can really take from them anytime. Over here is a rough fiber bandage, which early on that's helpful. You do get wounds like deep wounds or flesh wounds. Using one of these bandages is what will help you stop the bleeding, stop the wound. I'll show you. I have almost everything what I need for that. They're easy to make. Once you unlock the boots, you can come over here, right click on these flowers. They give you gold poppy petals, and with raw fiber, you can craft that, and boom. So back to the beginning, I was talking about how the faction is the ultimate goal. Um, the faction victory is the ultimate goal, and you need to do everything you can to help the faction progress, right? Part of that, this is your faction base. Part of that is building up these buildings. Eventually, you're going to want to build walls, you place other crafting stations down, um, all of that, right? So some of the first buildings they begin with is like the hunting lodge. This you need to upgrade this in order to have access to certain crafting tables. This will show you what you need. Right now it looks like we need 209 more rough wood logs, a lot more thin leather scraps, and it looks like somebody already got all the crumble stone. Once that's done, whatever you have, you can just click down here and it'll deposit everything that you got. Um, Once that's done, it'll open up a crafting table that you can then start crafting better items, armor, weapons, that type of thing. Over here is the construction building. So you build this up and it lets you start collecting, or somebody actually completed it. It lets you start constructing refineries that you need. Uh, Essence refinery, wood refinery, lumber mills, textile factories, that type of thing to help you progress faster. And then resources, just basic raw resources. Fortifications, there's a whole ton of stuff. Over here, it looks like is the spirit stable, I think this one is. Yeah, the mystic building frame. So once you build this, you have access to start getting things in the taming world, the spirit world, to tame with mounts, pets. Some of the better resources are in that other spirit world. Um, you gain also, look, I didn't notice it, but in the chat, 1.6 faction rep for just depositing materials into that building over there. The Stonehenge thing over here is where you tech up as a faction. So this is one of the most important parts as a team. You need to work together. It has 4 different options: invention research, mysticism research, adventuring research, and construction research. So what this is, those sparks that I have in my inventory, adventuring sparks, mysticism, and construction, get applied to these pillars right here. This is how you tech up as a group, as a faction. So if you click on it, you can see the different options available. These are all locked until you unlock the previous tier. You can actually see in Research tab all 4 types. Um, so you can go to the pillar and apply what you need for each type. This is where the factions need to prioritize correctly and get a good head start on everybody else. For example, hunting bows so you could kill better, harder mobs, get better resources, defend yourself against the Reckoning and other factions uh, are huge. The different types of armor, cloth armor, medium armor, different type of water skins, armory to unlock more gear, more options. Personal sawmills is only somewhat important. Um, you get a faction sawmill as public use, so focusing on that is probably a bad idea early on. So I'll apply my sparks. You can do max. They do it in multiple of 5, as you can see. And each 5 sparks is 1%. So I'll boost this thing up by 4%. Um, so focusing on that is good early on. On construction, focusing on, let's see, should be ammo alternatives is a priority. So doing that will give you stone tip, better arrows to go with the bows you want to make. Again, to help you kill better mobs, defend yourself. So that should be one of the first priorities for everybody to focus on. This one has storage, has stash buildings, which is what lets you have a personal stash in the faction base, I believe. Um, some other options in there. The invention one, you get sparks by actually crafting gear. So to speak to the adventuring one, where I mentioned I was leveling up the bows, once you have teched this up, right, and it unlocks hunting bows, the place you craft these hunting bows is not in your uh, personal crafting option or crafting menu. It's located in the crafting table that is in this building. Once it's built, there will be a crafting table and you'll see the options in there. You'll be able to craft the first tier hunting bow, and then um, you start unlocking higher tiers on that table as you craft the beginning tiers. So that's what you do with the sparks. That's what you do with the crafting techs. And until the faction has unlocked a tech, nobody can craft it. It doesn't matter how good you are solo, you cannot craft it until the faction has unlocked it. So you're really relying on your faction to be focused and to pick the right priorities early on to start unlocking the better stuff and making the mid game and end game content easier. So I think the basics have been covered on how to craft the first beginner tools, beginning armor gear, create a campfire and cook your first meal, a bandage to help staunch some wounds, um, what some of these other options are here, and then the big thing is finding your faction base, helping to contribute in building these buildings, and teching up your faction's technology. Hopefully the servers you join have some experienced players that can help guide you and guide the server on what to focus, and hopefully everybody works together um, to reach the same common goal. Um, because the beginning days are extremely important. If you get behind in the first few days, then it's tough to recover right now. So, having said that, I hope this has helped a bunch of the new players that are going to be joining Rend on the 31st and the future. At least get your bearings in Rend and get an idea of where to go and what to do to not constantly die like I did the first half hour to hour of joining this game. Thank you for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. If there's anything that I might have missed, um, please leave a comment and I'll try to go back and edit that or create a second video. Again, this is just some beginner steps. This is by no means the final say of what has to happen or the overall how you win this game. Just the beginning steps. Thanks for watching.